How many bars are you making a run for that?
20,000 units a day.
Whose cash is that right now?
Our first production with any new customer is a loss for us guaranteed 100% of the time. We can't leave here without actually trying some shit. So let's try some good stuff.
And I also rescued a couple off the line from the garbage can. These are my saves here. So.
Those didn't make the cut. These were the first off the initial run of the enrober being set up. And usually I try to tell the team, just always shy on the side of caution. So if you don't feel 100% confident about putting the product within the package, leave it out, I'll take the loss, I don't care. Mm-hmm. It's one of those. So like, realistically, you grab this product and it's great. Like you're not really going to judge the product, right? Like, honestly.
Right, but
the thickness, I mean, everything is good on the product. It's just, it was within the first batch that others didn't make the cut and they just felt like.
Okay, so what is wrong with this then? Tell me why did you pull this?
From a technical perspective, this product could pass.
Yeah, he picked out some decent ones off that tray. There were some on that tray that you would not have been happy with.
Right, they were either missing like the corner. This you know has a little bit of an odd shape on the outside because some of the crisp kind of went down, which really isn't anything bad with the product, right? There's this natural small fluff inside. So technically, there's nothing wrong with it. It's more of they were within the first few trays that the line was running. And so the team just kind of said, okay, all of these really are like within that line.
I, as a consumer, I'm okay with like a corner being a little off and stuff like that. But I mean, it's great that you care that much about the presentation. That absolutely.
But if you have a product where 10% of the right corner is not covered, people start talking. Like you start seeing that on social media. You know, like there comes a point where like one here and there is okay, but if it's like a solid percentage.
If it's a consistent issue, and I think that it's important for the relationship with the brands to be a constant evolution of improvement. Mm-hmm. So, you know, in a powder, it's pretty easy to, and I say this because I have launched powder companies and I know what the intricacies of all that is. But in a food, you got the picture on the label, and you have this physical, product in your hand with features. You're going to judge it because you're going to put it in your mouth versus putting it in a liquid and then just drinking it. So
and this is all before you package it, put it in a hot truck to a hot warehouse, and then ship it to someone that might not eat it for 9 months.
100%, 100%. And so then this constant improvement, going back to what I was saying, is like the constant improvement of the brand saying, hey, I noticed that on the corners of some of our units, we're getting a lack of enrobing or chocolate. Like, can we have that looked at? Can we look? And I'll say, okay, pull the batch, and we'll dive into it, and we'll say, okay, well, look, that was probably some of the feature. What was the percentage? Open up another master case. Let's dive in. Let's see if it's something that's occurring in more than one case. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that it's a constant back and forth. Like, if the brand isn't constantly looking at us and saying, hey, how are we improving this? What is it that you like? And me as a manufacturer saying, what can I do better? Constantly trying to find that little thing that I can do better is like part of the game. Mm-hmm. Where it gets difficult is when there is zero room for understanding that there is a need for continuous improvement and that the product needs to be perfect day one. So this is a cookie sandwich, a whoopie, or kind of your take on like the old oatmeal pie, right?
Okay.
This right here is a double chocolate Nutella-based cream filling.
So you actually have Nutella in here?
Yes, there's Nutella within to give it a little bit of the hazelnut chocolate.
Right. So you actually are just buying tubs of Nutella, or do they have a bulk?
It's an accent, right? So it's we are buying tubs of Nutella as an accent ingredient, almost kind of like buying an M&M as a topping.
Yeah, okay.
We're using a little bit of Nutella to give it that punch of Nutella flavor, but we're still creating the inside. Like that actual cream is created with collagen, and so there's like this creaminess texture that we're creating internal. And then we're just adding that for more of a flavor.
Sweet. It's an instant flavor.
How fresh is this?
Probably about 3 weeks old without proper packaging. Yeah, so this is kind of like lab sample that was done about 3 weeks ago. We sent out original samples to the customers. So this will be a little bit on the drier side because that package is like hand sealed and you're trapping air inside.
So there's protein in all different sections?
In the whole thing. So this product right here sits at like 230 calories. 9 grams of total sugar with 15 grams of protein, 16 grams of protein actually. We're gonna try this one next.
I love the inside.
Yeah.
It's moist and like, it feels like, I'm surprised it's like sitting on top and not falling off because it's so soft and creamy.
Yeah. So the one thing there is you have to make it soft where you're noticing a real texture difference. So when you're making functional foods, like when you're making snacks in general, like there's so many different elements. Like the visual appearance is very important, right? So like it starts with visual, then from visual, you move into the actual mouthfeel, into texture. And so the mouthfeel and texture of a cookie sandwich should give you that outside chewy cookiness into the smooth filling, right? And then you're able to like utilize the filling to hydrate the cookies. All right, so this is the bar that you saw out there, but this is
nice.
a birthday cake flavor.
Oh, so the stuff that we saw them mixing and making, that's the internal.
That was a chocolate one, right?
Cool.
But this is a finished sample.
So is there anything special about these sprinkles? Are they?
These are
protein enhanced at
natural
all, or
sprinkles.
just-
No,
okay.
they're natural. They don't have like artificial food coloring, dyes, etc.
Really?
Not all of them are.
What is a sprinkle?
Sugar and palm oils and kernel oils and
Oh, way softer than I was expecting.
How old is that?
about a week.
That's incredible.
Tastes like cake batter.
Yeah.
And this is playing on the side
Rich.
of like that sweeter,
Yeah.
full flavorful, side.
But a lot of the batter, the cake batter flavor, that is on the high end of sweet for me. But the batter is almost like it almost counteracts the sweetness for me. I like that because it smooths it out.
So the R&D process is kind of trying to first understand what the customer wants out of their product when 9 times out of 10, they actually don't know
The
themselves.
customer being the brand or the customer?
The brand. The
Yeah,
customer being the brand. And then the brand really is still unsure of what they want this product to be because they haven't experienced what this product could be. Right? So because there's this gap in their understanding of what they're really looking for, they only know they want to either play into the functional food space or they want to launch an ingredient or product that is unique from a aspect, right? Because this has a different texture. This has a different mouthfeel than what you're used to in market, right? So when they're looking for something like that, you have to get creative with like the initial structure. We'll send them a sample, and the base sample it'll hit their macros and it'll hit their ingredient profile that they're looking for. And then from there, it's kind of like determining, okay, did we hit texture, or do you want your texture to be a little bit soft, a little bit hard, or a little bit, like this. All right, so you're moving texture, and then you're also moving the overall flavor and sweetness of the product. So like, is the flavor, right, where you say cake batter, that's a full cake battering flavor kind of profile, where it goes against your traditional birthday cake.
Yeah.
It's kind of like plays in this with,
Yeah.
but it gives you almost like that batter. Which is more of like I would say like a smoother tone than your birthday cake, which has like your high notes of sweetness. But the sweetness hits your back because of your sweetener profile that we're using in it. So now we're bringing up your sweetness level, you have the cake batter note. The customer, it's a back and forth. So to answer the question, it's really us trying to figure out what we think. So first, the way that it really works in here is I'm the fat kid in this whole entire thing where it's like, all right, nothing's leaving here unless I think it's like above an 8.5, like the initial sample, which really you're trying to get the best product you can out the first one, but I understand that it's never a one and done, right? That's the game. So we get product out, consumer comes back and says, I think that I would like to see this, right? And now they're basing it either off of an internal pool of, employees or feedback from their friends and relatives, comes back to us and they're like, look, it's a little bit too dry. It's a little bit too soft. It's got too much sweetness. I get a little bit of a burn in the back note. Okay, cool. Let's pull down on erythritol, for example. Cool, let me bring in this. Am I able to give you another gram of sugar? If you let me get to another gram of sugar, that'll bring up our natural sweetness and that'll tone down any afterburn. And so then we start to play that game. And it's a back and forth until we nail it. So this has got a real texture, Japanese culture kind of history to the ingredients and the texture and all this stuff. So this was kind of like a co-produced product.
Is it sold in America?
It's not sold yet. This is yet to hit market. Yes.
So what crisps were inside of this one?
That's the 60%.
That is 60. Okay, yeah, because
Yeah.
it did seem less.
You feel the difference on like the crunch itself?
Yes, I was expecting more crunch than you.
Well, it's also, correct me on what I'm saying that isn't the trade words, but this seems less packed than this is, right? This seems fluffier and more voluminous and full of air.
This is
and
denser,
this
right?
seems like you've really compacted it.
This is going to be more towards that like granola crunchy kind of seed bar, right? Where it's supposed to be a denser, crunchier kind of product versus this.
This is a bar and this is a treat, right?
In a way, yeah, you could look at it like that. Yeah, this is almost like towards that crispy treat.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like in that.
I mean,
in
it
that
looks
world.
like Rice Krispie treats right off the. I mean, just like looking at it, I would have.
Yeah.
To an untrained eye, you wouldn't know if you didn't know what whey crisps were. So what else is in this? I see crisps, but I also see like other brown stuff in there.
So we got like brown rice crisps. There's pea protein. There's goji berries. There's actual freeze-dried strawberries. Oats, rolled oats.
This is more towards what I like.
This
is more.
Yeah.
This is unique.
There is sweetness in it, but it's a natural sweetness.
It's a natural bar.
Right. What is the frosting on the outside?
That's a white chocolate with a freeze-dried strawberry powder to bring it up. And we also have a matcha one. It's pretty unique.
Cool. I love the freeze-dried strawberries in there.
I can see this working with a lot of different types of people. Like,
It's more, yeah. So that's where the guys that created it, and this is the packaging on it.
I was looking at that box. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's like almond butter and pea crisp and brown rice syrup and honey and pea protein, rice crisp, tapioca, strawberries, probiotic blend. So like you're leaning into more of like this like natural ingredient profile.
Yeah.
And then the uniqueness. So like there's ingredients in there that we're literally taking and we have to toast them to bring out the extra crunchiness of it. Mm-hmm. So that when then you mix it with your actual batter, they hold their texture. And then when you enrobe it, now you're keeping that crunch in the product without allowing that the syrups and the bar texture and all the wets soak into the crisp and make it crisp,
Gotcha.
Soggy.
So when you have these projects that it seems like there's staging time and preps, like ingredients that you have to modify and do all of these things, are you going beginning to end projects like A to Z? Because you have to prep these ingredients for one project, but you might have this one going, which is a simpler one. Will you have multiple going at the same time while you're figuring things out? Or how do you manage all of that at the same time? Because it seems complicated.
Are you saying from when things are running and the purchase orders are already
the line
in?
time out there. Yeah.
So we'll stage our regular monthly production schedule, and we're moving it based on POs in. Our lead time right now, we try to keep it as tight as possible, 6 to 8 weeks, right? Which is a challenge because you're constantly trying to keep product fresh in market. So then the order rates are much higher. The reorder rates are much more frequent than your powder, right? Where your powder, you're probably ordering maybe twice a year, if that, and you're holding inventory for a while because it's got a 2-year shelf life. Even though we achieve a 1-year shelf life with these products, I want customers to have that product in market less than 5 to 6 months. Because it's the best way to get the customer, their end customer, to have the best experience. Like that's just, I don't care who you are, what protein bar you're eating, what treat you're eating. If you get your product within a specific amount of time, you're gonna have the best option version of that product. Mm-hmm. Over time, although it is fit for human consumption over time, and probably even more than 12 months realistically, the experience, kind of gets lost a little bit. So we want to try to keep it fresh. So we have a constant reorder rate, usually about 4 times, 6 times per year. Okay. So it's really, we look at that entire month, and then if we're moving only one line at a time today, mm-hmm. I am looking at, depending on the projects coming in, but having 2 different lines running at the same time, baked line and non-baked line, right?
That makes sense.
I could have a bar running, right, where it's just mix, slab, or extrude straight into packaging, and then have more of like a complex product where it's like a brownie or a cupcake or a muffin, and then to have that baking experience where I have that staging overnight, giving time for this one to finish, and then packaging on this one and the next one.
Because you've mentioned like a product that has to dry for a day, right. A ingredient that has to be roasted, like. Are you fitting in during that time? Okay, let's run this other,
the whole thing.
Because you don't want that line to be down. You got 50 people out there to work, and they're not doing anything.
So, for example, when we're running that product, we'll look at the amount of time. Let's say we're going to do 60,000 units. Say it's going to be a 3-day cycle for that specific flavor. I'll roast and toast all of the ingredients that I need on D-Day -1. So the day before we go live, prep will run them, bake them, and then mix them preset in the batches for the next 2 or 3 days. So we're planning ahead to try to ensure that when we go into the mixing stage, we're ready.
Oven that you're baking like that ingredient in, that's the same oven that you're baking everything else in.
So we just got to make sure that we're not running a production day of baked goods that day. Or we'll come in on a Saturday or a Sunday and we'll stage for the Monday.
Cool.
But it is a constant
operations person who's got it together.
Oh man, it is a constant. And then you're always having last minute things, right? And we try to go above and beyond for the customer. So it's like, hey, I ran out of stock. I wasn't expecting it. When can you get me back in line time? I got to submit a PO. Can you get me in 3-4 weeks? And it's like one of those that it's like, shit, like I'm not sure I can do that. But like, I'm the kind of guy that like put me to the challenge and I'm going to do good by you. Like I'm going to go to war and do my absolute best to make sure that you have the best chance in market. And if we get a great product in market and now you're out of stock for 6 or 8 weeks and you can't get product on shelf, your customers, your retailers are not happy because now they're losing revenue on that placement. I understand that. So like, I'm like, I can't let that happen. I need to get you product. It's not the other way where it's like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Well, I'm busy, so no. It's like, yeah, we're busy, but like it matters so much that the momentum keeps growing. I can't let you fall.
Talk to us about this new brownie.
So this hasn't hit market yet, but this is the Core Peanut Butter Banana Blondie.
Okay, so we were told there were bananas in this, but I don't like see chunks of bananas. Like, is it these? Like, tell us about how you put bananas.
So
in
there
this.
is no actual physical bananas in the product.
It's like
it is a banana like flavor profile that is in there. There's chocolate chunks, and then there's the peanut butter banana powdered swirl.
You taste it before it even enters the mouth because the aromas come in from that flavor.
And the thing with banana is you can't overpower banana. If you go too much, it's a bitter, nasty taste.
Yeah.
Like so, it's almost like how can I get the balance between peanut? And I like the you know this is the first time you guys are trying this, so tell me what you think. But the balance here was trying to get the best we could between a banana with hints of peanut butter and allow the chocolate to play in with the banana, where none are overpowering each other.
I'm a banana guy. I love this. The people like me are going to be like, we've been waiting for something like this.
Without the chocolate chips, I don't think the product would be able to be like it would be missing something.
Right.
Well, it would just be a blondie with peanut butter and banana, which is sounds nice, but the chocolate gives you like a little lift, but it also gives you a crisp almost. It's because it's thick and you have to. It's not hard, but you have to bite
It's
through
the chunk,
it.
right? And it's the chunky monkey.
Yeah.
Right. It's that combination of all three of those great elements together.
Because the blondie itself is extremely moist. If the chocolate wasn't in there, you would just bite through it and really have almost you have like a mash in your mouth almost.
These have all been good. This is the one that's just bringing a smile to my face for whatever reason.
I feel like the inner Mike, the little kid.
Yeah, they put a drug in here that just made me smile. It's like I felt like serotonin, dopamine, just everything just lit up on me on this one. So
Good, awesome.
well done.
It's almost unfair. It's like
we said about the brownies.
Yeah, like when we were talking about our favorite foods of 2023, we were like, the blondies and the brownies from Cordish are unfair because like. Realistically, they are kind of high carb and fat.
You're putting the ice cream toppings in a...
Yeah.
But it does make sense, right? Which is like, that's what I think is so cool about playing in the space of functional foods. It's really like, we might service a medical doctor that wants to bring out a cookie for like a client that has a diet. That profile, the overall ingredients, like the direction of that, is completely different than someone saying, hey, I want this like great tasting protein snack that's just gonna wow you. You're gonna be like, I want this delicious treat because it's a better for me option, but it's still giving me 10 grams of sugar. But that brownie and a normal brownie, that's 30, 40 grams of sugar.
You're doing an ice cream collab. You know you're gonna get some sugar and fats and everything, but at least it has some protein inside. Like, as long as they're not pitching it as like this like super lean, skinny girl thing, I think it's incredibly fair.
Especially compared to like an actual brownie, right?
I'd rather have this than any brownie I've had.
No, this is the peanut butter one.
Yeah, this is 1 hour old.
No, so this one is actually 2 days old, sitting out on that rack.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, this is not from. This is 2 days. Like it was wrapped. It was one of the first ones, and we had 2 days of production.
So this is way denser.
Yeah. On this one, we actually put peanut butter
inside
into the batter, and so that starts to create a little bit of a denser fluff.
And you can taste it.
I'll say if this was a dud, then whatever brand's getting this is gonna get in a good bar here. Wow.
That's really good.
I saw these coming off the line. I was like, I need to eat one of these. I'm sorry.
I saw your eyes.
I wasn't gonna let you throw away the whole tray.
That's funny because like looking at it, I felt the opposite. It doesn't have sprinkles or like, strawberry, anything. Like, it's very nondescript. That tastes amazing though.
These are all so good.
This is just some of the shit, right? Some of the stuff that we can create. Like this is just, I wanted you guys to try a little bit of the stuff. And some of the newer things too that like maybe you haven't tried because it's hard. You guys try a lot of stuff. Been in the industry
I live
for a
at
while.
my vitamin shop just buying this stuff.
I think that there's a formula to a successful functional food launch. And it's not just about the product. The brand is a very, very, very important aspect in whether or not a great product will either make it or not. And so there's these elements that you can give okay brand this product, or you can give a really good brand this product, and the difference in what that product could become in market is night and day.
Without a doubt, the things that you do in here, as much as this is going to hurt Mike and me to say this, means almost nothing if it's launched incorrectly and
100%.
educated on incorrectly. Like, there are plenty of really bad foods out there that do way more than some of these very innovative formats.
100%.
Just because the brand has been communicated better.
There was proper marketing, right time, brand awareness, good distribution. Like those things are foundational for rapid growth or high volume sales.
Yeah.
It's just like it is what it is. Like there's brands out there that I think that they launch the product that's in market today, they don't make it.
Yeah.
If the Quest bar were to launch today in its current formula, I do not believe that the Quest bar would have had the success that it had in 2024.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. That was over a decade ago too, and
right.
I don't know if you remember, but the Quest bar had some questionable decisions on that label. They used IMO fiber and basically claiming it had negative calories or something along those lines, like basically 0 calories.
Right.
So it was launched as like a 160 calorie bar that had 0 to 3 grams of active carbs, which science has proven that was completely erroneous.
Right.
And so that was part of the thing that kind of like got that going. So I always want to like be careful of new ingredients that may not be what the ingredient
that they're not like sound, because that one was like, whether you can claim it as a fiber or not, right? Like the IMO.
Right, yeah. And so FDA decided no.
No, you can't claim it as a fiber. So now you can't put it on your fiber count.
Right.
You have to list it properly.
It's an active carb, yeah. It's not 4 grams of calories per carb, but it's like 3.4 or something along those lines.
Yep. Didn't they also have a box on the side, like a marketing speak, where it was like total carb and it was like minus fiber and it was like net carbs?
I have some archives of bodybuilding.com's website, and it's pretty egregious.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that bad, but yeah. I just always like to point that out with Quest bars. Like in the bodybuilding community, people got really hyped up about those labels. I don't know if that. Either way, that probably would have soared past it because it went mainstream anyway, and mainstream probably didn't care as much about IMO fiber.
Right.
So it was an incredible launch.
I think the fiber
amazing.
Discussion is definitely our niche. I think that in the
Right.
mainstream, I'll give them some credit. In the mainstream, the flavors were incredible for the time. Right?
Oh no, they were.
Yes.
So that's what I was saying.
Soft,
they were
right.
so advanced in their time
Right.
because
Yeah.
at that moment in time, that 20 gram of protein product that tasted good in a bar, like
Yeah.
that was like really innovative in its stage. And yes, of course, the macros and all that played into it.
Yeah. I remember the cinnamon bun, the chocolate chunk, and the white raspberry. Those 3 launches. I remember those were like, they were ahead of their time by so far.
100%.
Yeah.
Before that, it was Power Bar Brick, where it looked like this, but way worse, and tasted like.
No, I remember eating those
Yeah.
high school, and it was like,
Yeah.
your coach, like your football coach, is like, oh, you got to do it. I'm like, God, I don't like this. It's like
Yeah.
a Laffy Taffy that tastes
and then,
horrible.
Yeah,
I'm not even
Bar
really
came
sure.
along and just rocked that all.
Yeah,
So-
and also didn't have any GI distress as well. Like that's the other half of the joke is like they were bricks and they tasted horrible, and then also like your stomach, most of us didn't digest
handle
those
it. Yeah, you
very
couldn't
well,
handle it,
you know. But Quest was easy to digest. It felt good. It tasted great. It was everything at that time.
That's the thing. Yeah, IMO fiber may not actually be a fiber, but it didn't seem to cause people many problems. And
it was
it
tasty.
worked for what
Yeah.
it was doing. Cool stuff. All right, well, I might steal the rest of this brownie here, but
Let's go.
I think we should go hit podcast.
Yeah, let's go hit the podcast.
We kind of already started.
Like I would try things that I think are like,
And I think we can do some really unique things with branding.
you guys are going to be the bakers today.